Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tamiya Mercedes-Benz G500 CC-02 chassis Part 2. The truck is in roller, as you can see, and I've got to say that for the first CC-02 chassis, cross-country chassis, or really entry-level crawler, this thing is pretty impressive. The videos I saw online, I was kind of hooked, and I was really intrigued to get the truck, get it here, put it through its paces, like I said in the first video, and then start modifying it to see what you could actually do with this platform. Now, I gotta say, I've built a lot of crawlers in my tenure in this hobby. I've been doing this stuff since I was about 12, 13 years old, and I'll be 50 in April. So a lot of years. And my first crawler was a converted clodbuster that got me into this crawler scene. Now, was it a competition ready rig? No, but I was learning. And then later on, I went to the Axial SCX-10. I was a huge SCX-10 nut. Built a lot of those chassis, built a lot of them for friends, modified a lot of my friends' trucks, made my own suspension kits, a lot of custom parts. Generally, when we had competitions, I would always run a Dingo chassis, which is the 11.3, the shortest one, because it was more agile, and with the right suspension parts on the front end, you could get surgical with that truck. We used to have some get-togethers on Friday night at the hobby shop downtown, and my best friend is the owner of that hobby shop, and the stuff that he has killer rigs, and I would take this hodgepodge of parts up there and murder that track, and it would make it. There was one specific corner, and I wish I had video. I never got video of it. That would always just piss him off because he couldn't round it, and I could knock it out, three-wheel it, and knock this thing out. And that's why I've always liked the shorter wheelbase. That was an 11.3 wheelbase rig. This one is 11 inches flat. This with the right components could be a game changer. Will it win competitions? I don't believe so. Would it be a really force to be reckoned with on the trails with the right stuff? I absolutely believe that after putting this thing together. I built a lot of them. Axials. I built a couple of the Vatera Ascenders for some friends. Never owned one, but did build some and modify some for some friends. And then I built a really nice Element, what is that thing? Enduro, that I put the green Range Rover Classic body on and the Range Rover wheels. That truck turned out great. It's a phenomenal rig, but it's got its own traits, just like the Axials do. They are completely different animals. And then I've had the Red Cat Gen 8 also. And that's a great rig. People give that truck a lot of flack, but because it's a Red Cat. But I'm telling you, if you ever drove one, out of the box, that's probably one of the most capable rigs ready to run that you'll ever run. The tires are great. The foams on those tires on those trucks are a little bit less than, but with some manipulating, that's a really, really, really comparable rig. This one is not there. But I've got to say, after building this truck, I am severely impressed with it. Incredibly impressed with it. It does have 4-link. It does have aluminum shock. I'm not aluminum. It has oil-filled shocks, but are plastic. Now, mind you, I don't have any preload on it, so it's a little droopy in the front end. It's not sitting up to where it needs to be right now, and it's just, it wants to sag, but it's just been thrown together to get up here to show you guys that, hey, it's in roller. But I am really impressed with this truck. The only drawback the only thing I wish Tamiya would do would be get away from the Phillips head screws and go to the Torx bit. I'm not Torx bit, but the Allen heads. Just gives it a cleaner look, But this thing is really nice. Really nice. The transmission is really reminiscent of an SCX-10 or an axial transmission. First generation SCX-10. The only thing I don't like about that transmission is that it's all plastic internals. All the gears inside are internal. Are plastic. Of course they're internal. Where the hell else would they be? But I put full bearings in it, so it's got full bearings in the transmission, in the rear ends. Where these bearings need to be, they are in there. So it's really, really smooth. Now the differentials on both ends are locked. I figured that they were kind of a pain to get together. It took a little bit of time to get the rear ends together with all the parts and the way Tamiya does their stuff. So rather than put the bushings in there and then come back and take it all apart and just to put the bearings in, I just went ahead and did that. And so I figured I'd go ahead and lock the diffs while I'm at it. Give it a little bit more, make it a little more capable when I take it out for the initial test run. I think the major drawback is going to be the fact that it doesn't have a lot of flex now. I mean, it has good flex for what it is, but between the limited flex and the tires being hard as rocks, I think that's really going to be the only thing that keeps this truck from being, let's say, a really entry-level Class 2 rig. I think with the right components, you could make this thing to be, not a constant winner, but you can make it one hell of a threat on the course. That being said, it does have 4 links, and they are some beefy plastic 4 links, not like the ones that actually we used to put on there that were so flimsy that just by mashing them they would flex so bad. These, to be plastic, are pretty stout. And it's got these radius rod looking ones on the bottom, and then regular tubular up on the top side right in here. Pivot balls, obviously, capture pivot balls on all ends. And the mounts on the axles, although it probably won't pick them up, are a little reminiscent of those that were put on the first generation Wraith. This being that they're on both sides, top and bottom, and they're screwed in, but no skid plate. I can see this may be a problem here and there, but I think there's room to maybe make one, fabricate one, and make one. Great platform. Batteries mounted in the back. Although I'm going to run it with the battery in the back for the first couple of times, I have got a plan to move that battery. I can't put it up front where I want to, but I think I've got a plan to move it around to where to get the center of gravity a little bit lower and keep it a little more stable. Now, mind you, like you guys are seeing that these mounts are just hanging in here. I just got them mocked in. The body posts are definitely in, but these cross braces, I guess, to give it a little more rigidity, are just there. I need to get those in there and actually pin them together. But great little rig, man. I mean, box stock. Where am I at? I got a couple tires right here. But to be box stock, and they'll mind you the back tires off the ground. But I think after these shocks are worked in, for that kind of flex out of the box for a kit that's really not deemed to be a crawler, is not that bad. Not that bad. I gotta say that the shocks on this thing, although they are plastic body, these shocks are very well made to be a kit shock. Tamiya, whenever they send out these kits and they have oil-filled shocks, they always send this yellow-looking stuff that almost looks like cooking oil, but it's really, really thin. Now this, I've never seen like 80 or 90 or whatever weight on any of these damn bottles of shock oil that they send, but this stuff was definitely thicker than the standard oil shock oil that they send out. It was red, had a higher viscosity, and the shocks makes these shocks really, really fluid. Now their shock shafts have a piston that is basically brazed on the end of it, so there's no change in that. Now I've got plenty of shock parts over there, and if I really wanted to, I could, change the shock shafts and put all these different pistons that came with this thing. I was hoping I could get on there and tune these shocks in. But these will probably come off after the first couple of runs anyway, because my thing is I want to modify this thing and see what we can do with it. But overall, incredibly, I'm astonished. I didn't think it would be this nice. I didn't think it would be as beefy. It's a solid piece. It has good weight to it. I wish you guys could feel this thing. It may be it's maybe 5 pounds. It's very well balanced. I don't have anything that I can really balance it on, but the front end is very well balanced. Transmission sits really low, although it is hanging out in the bottom. But I think this is going to be a really good trail rig. I'm not looking for wondrous things whenever I first run it. I am looking to have to modify it, honestly, and that's going to be the fun of it, to take the stock suspension components off, either measure them and pick up some that are already made that will suffice, or just to go ahead and make my own. I enjoy making my own links and, you know, all my steering components. The bad part is the knuckles on this truck are plastic. The steering angle is about yay much. Let me see if I can get it up here just a hair. Yeah, it's about yay much there, which isn't bad. It's not going to win any comps, but you know, you'd have some reverses on that thing. But overall, I mean, I'm excited to get started on it, and I think it's going to be a great project. The next problem is this, and maybe you guys can help me on this. I don't know. This thing, if you see the body or see the box, this body is surely not a typical, you know, rig that you would see out at you know, on the trails crawling per se. You might see it out doing some, you know, some bunny trails or something like that. So I'm up in the air and I'm kind of torn on which way to go. Now, I have the body here, and obviously these body posts are not trimmed, they're just there. But here's my problem now. So I'm just going to sit it on here to give you an idea. Move it up forward so you can see. My problem now is trying to decide whether to just go ahead and punch holes in the body and run, you know, cut the body pins down. I don't ever leave the body post way up high, but run the body post straight up through it like it should be, or like it usually is. Or do I take this thing, not put a body post hole in it at all, do something to put a deck in here, which would obviously open up the door for, you know, a partial interior of some sort, and then hide the body post to give it a little more scale realism. So I'm in the air there. I would really appreciate some feedback on that. I don't know which way I'm going to go. Would I like to put an interior in it? Yeah, I would. But am I going to comp this thing and take it out on usual trail rides? Probably not. So I could go either way. It really doesn't matter. And if and these bodies, you know, you can pick them up. So, but yeah, there it is, guys. And just wanted to give you a good look, let you see what we're doing here. Get that body back off, set it up here. That's next. I'm anxious to get that painted, but there it is, Tamiya CC-02 chassis. And coming from me, not that it's anything major. Way to go, Tamiya. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Looking forward to diving into this thing, getting it on the trail, putting it through its paces, and then really getting into the meat of it. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I put up a video, you'll be the first to know. I hope you guys are doing well. Take good care of yourselves. God bless you, and God bless America. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, later.